So lovely to be back with everybody in person. My name is Seth Meyers, and it is my enormous pleasure to be the evening's master of ceremonies. And give yourselves a round of applause for being back out in public. Especially since it's not technically over. My whole family got Omicron in January, so I feel like we're still on the tail end of our immunity. Can I say something about Omicron? I feel like we blew it when we named it Omicron. I feel like after Delta, we should have named them all after airlines. Just because it was so brutally unfair to Delta to be the only airline that had to be saddled with that. I just tested positive for JetBlue. I'm so happy to be back with you in person this evening to celebrate Sanctuary for families and their essential life-saving work with survivors of gender violence. And welcome also to all of you tuning in from home. It's very nice to have a virtual element as well. Before we get started, I was told to tell you that the silent auction is coming to a close in like 3 minutes. So do check your phone. Try to get one last bid in. We have some incredible items this year. A 7-day stay for 10 people in Cabo San Lucas. A private showing of Rothko paintings, tickets to Moulin Rouge. We have tickets to the Super Bowl and every major New York City sports team. Most importantly, one of the items is you can come to my show and have a meet and greet with me. That's a big deal. And if you win that item, don't try to meet me tonight. Save it. Because anyone can meet me tonight, all this riffraff. But you come to my show, we'll make it special. Back to our program, you guys. Last year, as many of you remember, Zero Tolerance Benefit was held virtually, but it was still a very special event, not just for everyone, but for our family, for my family. My wife, Alexi, was recognized for her work and commitment. She loves attention. She loves when people look at her. And of course, she is honored every single day at my house. That was written by the staff at Sanctuary. I would never pretend to say we do that kind of job. You know, we have 3 kids now. So the last time I was here, I told the story when we were all together. I told the story of our second kid was born in the lobby of our building. And it's a really great story. I even did a Netflix special about it called Lobby Baby. And it was a great story to tell at charity events like this. It really was. And I used to say to my wife, you've given me the greatest gift as a father, the healthy baby boy, but you've given me an even greater gift as a comedian, 10 minutes of material. And that's why it breaks my heart to tell you that we had a third child. We had a daughter 8 months ago, and the story's just a bit of a dud. And I just want to say to everybody here, don't blame the baby. It's not the baby's fault. She was a home birth. After you have a baby in the lobby of your building, after you make it 0.001% of the way to the hospital, even the doctors are like, maybe do it at home. We have a baby girl, and we named her. Before I tell you what we named her, if you haven't had kids yet, there's this very interesting thing, this sort of minefield you have to walk through, which is when you tell people the name of your baby, because if you tell them before the baby is born, there are certain people in your life who will tell you their opinion of the name, even though you don't want their opinion of the name. There are some people who even do it after the baby's born, after you've legally given the child the name. There are people who will still tell you what they think about it. I have a sister-in-law, and if you don't have a sister-in-law, you gotta get a sister-in-law. Let me tell you, they're outstanding. It's like a second wife with none of the intimacy and all of the opinions. So I got one of these sister-in-laws, and when our first baby was born, my wife's maiden name is Ash, and we named our baby Ash. We named our son Ash in honor of her family, and then his middle name is Olson, which is my mother's maiden name. And so Ash Olson Myers, we felt like it was an incredible tribute to 2 families. And then my sister-in-law, after the name's on a birth certificate, it's legal, she says, aren't you worried people will think you named him after Ashley Olsen? And I said, I don't think a single living soul will think that. They might think it sounds like Ashley Olsen, but I don't think a single living soul will be like, wow, Seth Meyers loves Full House. Anyway, where was I? Oh, right, so we had a baby girl. We named her Mary Kate. We named her Adelaide. We have our kids are named Ash, Axel, and Adelaide. I'm not going to tell you whose idea that was, but my name is Seth and my wife's name is Alexi. You guys, tonight we will acknowledge the achievements and contributions of 3 incredible women, and we will also celebrate the amazing survivors whose sanctuary has helped to find safety and healing. We are all running out of synonyms for the words challenging and difficult, but we are not running out of examples of the enormous effort that Sanctuary brings to the people it serves. Efforts last year that helped 7,200 adults and children escape from gender violence and build new lives. Absolutely. A round of applause. Despite the pandemic, despite the economic challenges, and despite the other barriers and difficulties they have to face. And I do want to just take a break right now to remind everybody that, one of the reasons we're here tonight, obviously it's to be together, it's to honor everybody, but let's also remember one of the core reasons we're here is raise some money so this incredible organization can continue to do the amazing work that it does. Sanctuary staff ensure that every client has the legal support, counseling, shelter, and economic empowerment services they need to find safety and stability and a life free from violence. Sanctuary also engages in crucial advocacy work, recognizing that advocacy is critically important to changing the social and institutional frameworks that perpetuate gender violence. By being here this evening, you are showing the world that you too are committed to supporting survivors, to listening to them when they tell you their stories, and to providing them the support that helps us all live in a world free from gender violence. Thank you for being part of our family. One more round of applause for yourselves. And now please keep it going, as it is my pleasure to introduce Sanctuary for Families Executive Director, the Honorable Judy Harris Kluger.
Thank you, Seth, for joining us again this year and making us laugh. It is so great to have you back. Good evening, everyone. I am thrilled to welcome you here tonight. The last time we were all together in this room was 3 years ago. So much has changed in the world, in New York, and in our lives. During these challenging years, many of us have said to ourselves, if only I can get through the pandemic, things will get better. And for many of us, that's true. Things do get better. But hoping things get better doesn't work for those who are threatened with violence in their relationships. It's not an abstract threat. It is a daily reality, often compounded by racial discrimination, lack of immigration status, and intergenerational poverty. During the past 3 years, as people faced daunting pressures and turmoil, the needs of our clients only increased. That's why Sanctuary's commitment to survivors of gender violence has not wavered, despite the challenges we have had to overcome as an organization and as individuals. No matter how hard it has been to meet the demand, we know that thousands of adults and children count on us each year to make their lives better and safer, and to help them envision a future free of violence. How do we help our clients? How do we help them go from hoping to building a new life? Many of you know that Sanctuary offers a wide range of services, all under one roof. We provide legal representation, counseling, shelter, and economic empowerment services. We meet clients where they are and amplify their voices through outreach training and systems change advocacy. You can look at our website and see the statistics. How many survivors now have living wage jobs? How many hold a green card? How many have full custody of their children? How many are free from PTSD and debilitating anxiety? The impact is profound, beyond what we can easily see and count. We recently asked a number of our survivor leaders to share with us what was that moment when you knew things were getting better. The answers are varied and very powerful, and I am honored to share some of those stories with you tonight in the following videos. These indelible moments are small but moving examples of freedom from abuse that our clients have longed for. Without the incredible commitment and passion of our staff, the generosity of all of you tonight, and our amazing board of directors, these moments may never have happened. To protect the confidentiality of those who agreed to share their stories, tonight you will only hear their voices. Please join me in listening to small moments.
My small thing, a red dress. I always dress white and black colors because I never felt like pretty, beautiful, nothing. I saw this dress, I buy it. And I saw me on the mirror. I said, okay, this is a different person. The first time I wore this dress was a wedding, and that is maybe 7 years ago. You know, imagine me walking with that red dress and red shoes, all people looking at me. And I feel very comfortable, and I feel like this is me now. This dress marked the difference.
I had accepted that where I was where I was going to be for the rest of my life. A depressed, abused lady. My daughter had a friend whose mom was a pastor, and she opened up a church right across the street. And I went, and I see this lady sitting on a pulpit. And when I walked in the church, she walked off the pulpit, and she just gave me a hug. That hug woke up something inside of me, because I've been feeling like garbage for so many years. And I felt like a person. I'm like, oh my God, there is love still in the world. There's hope.
We walked into the new apartment, the shelter that we were in, with all these trash bags, and we had one very large room. You know, the apartment was clean and nice, but for my adult eyes, it was like, whoa, here I am in shelter. My son waltzed in, looked at this giant bedroom that we had, and went, we have so much space. And he spun and did a 360 with his arms outstretched. You know, wee, this is awesome. And so I looked at him, and it hit me. I'm safe. We're free. That was that moment.
Welcome, Sanctuary Survivor Leaders.
We are the inaugural class of Survivor Leadership Coalition. I am an artist, and I create.
I am a miracle. I am resilient. I am more than a conqueror. Today, I'm no longer afraid to use my voice. Hallelujah! Thank you, Jesus.
I'm a teacher, and courage has been my compass.
I'm a poet, and I speak for those without a voice.
I'm a mother and a powerful domestic violence survivor mentor leader. Soy una madre y soy una sobreviviente de violencia doméstica y ahora soy mentor para mujeres también.
Good evening, everyone. I'm a mother, a writer, artist, storyteller, a strong survivor, leader, mentor, helping and working with women throughout with domestic violence. Thank you.
I'm a professor. I teach and empower by leading and transforming silence into action.
I'm a dancer, and movement transforms. For the past 13 years as a survivor leader, my mantra has been to educate, advocate, and eradicate gender-based violence. Thank you.
Now please welcome to the stage Auctioneer Lydia Finnette.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lydia Fanata. I'm so delighted to be here this evening. I'd like to thank the 4 people who clapped when they said my name. That felt great. I feel like we're off to a great start this evening. So I know everyone probably thought auctioneers would go the way of COVID. Afterwards, we would not exist, but that's not true. I'm still here, guys. I've been busy all season, crazy busy. We're not going anywhere. So I want to tell you this. I only plan to be on stage for 3 minutes. How does that sound to you guys? Does that sound good? Yeah. I would have thought you'd be more excited. 3 minutes. And what we're going to do in that 3 minutes is fund hope. We're going to raise money. We're going to go crazy. If your hand is not in the air, I hope it is applauding like crazy for the people whose hands are in the air. A paddle raise is easy. All you have to do is raise your hand to give at the level where you would like to give and the level where you can give. Make sure you have money in your bank account. I don't want your hand in the air unless there is money behind that hand. 6 levels. I'm going to start high. We're going to go down. Give where you can. Every dollar is equal. I will say that again. Every dollar is equal. So I want to start off at the highest level. I want you all to aggressively shush the right side of the room. That's what you're up against, guys. So quiet down over there. I'm going to start at the highest level. If you give at the highest level, you're going to receive compliments you've never received in your entire life. In a room of 700 people, you can tell everyone you know that you are the most incredible, the smartest, the funniest, voice like John Legend. All of these things are coming your way if you start off my bidding this evening. The first level of giving, $25,000, which helps underwrite a sanctuary attorney for 3 months. I know that this is a large number. We're going to keep going down. As I said, give where you can. Every dollar is equal. This money helps attorneys help survivors obtain custody of and support for their kids and obtain divorces from their abusive partners. $25,000. Anywhere in the room, please raise your hand. Raise it high. I'm going to stand up here until it's awkward. Ladies and gentlemen, I have nowhere to be. I have 3 children at home. My husband's putting them to bed. I will be here all night. Yeah, that's true. 3 kids. I know all about that. 3 kids. $25,000, which is only $1 a day for the next $25,000 days. Think about it. So easy. Such quick math. Such quick math. $25,000. Anywhere in the room. There's someone waving on the right, and I would caution you against that, ma'am, in a room filled with people when I'm waiting for that $25,000 bid. All right. You know what? I'll tell you something honestly. I hate the number 25,000. I hate it. But you know what number I love? 15,000. Anyone at the $15,000 level, ladies and gentlemen? And you know what? It's so fun. No, I'm sorry. It's so funny because I walked in this evening and I saw these two women sitting on opposite sides of the room. One is blonde and looks like Giselle with blonde hair, and one on my right is brunette and is holding hands with the man next to her. So he's like, that's not my wife. That's not what I'm here for. All right, we have $15,000 at table 52 and also $15,000 on my left. A quick $30,000 at the $15,000 level. All right, $10,000. Do you see how this works? You guys get understanding what a paddle raise is? We start high, we go low. $10,000. Oh my God, look at all these people with their money in the room. We have one, table 53, two on my right, another one in front of me. Thank you so much. Also directly in front of me, always scary to be there at an auction. And another one with you, sir. Your hair is incredible. I'd like to know how long you have been growing that out. It's kind of like a Rod Stewart, but a chic Rod Stewart, you know what I mean? All right, so that's $50,000 plus we raised 30, we're at $80,000. That's pretty good, right? As I said, I've been up here for about a minute. Thank you. $80,000, but you know what? There's 700 people in this room, so we're going to keep going. $5,000, and let's think about this. If we got 4 people at $5,000, we'd be at $100,000, and that's a nice round number. Oh, there's a man who looks like a younger, more handsome version of Seth Meyers on my left. You guys don't know this. I actually trained Seth to be my junior auctioneer. He is not on stage right now for a reason, or it's not very good at it. $5,000 on my left, another $5,000 on my right, taking us to $80,000. Another one, thank you so much, ma'am. That takes us to $85,000. $90,000 in the center of the room with George Clooney's younger brother, who also just happens to be in the room at $90,000. But guys, remember our aim was $100,000 at the $5,000 level. And on my left, also wearing red, which is a color of power, ma'am, also brunette, $95,000 on my left. Don't applaud yet. I wanted $100,000. So who gives me that last $5,000? And the crowd will go wild. And then I only have 2 levels left. $5,000. Ma'am, you are way too young to have $5,000. Oh, she's with you. Okay, that makes more sense. Because otherwise, like, how many teeth can you lose? You know what I mean? You get that tooth fairy money to sort out up that quickly at $5,000 at table 19. All right. And I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, all these people at $5,000. First of all, Tanaz, my friend in the front of the room, at $5,000. We have $5,000, and also with you, ma'am, in the blue. The handsome gentleman on my right, another lady on my left, and then all the way on my right, taking us to $125,000, ladies and gentlemen. $125,000. Let's keep going. 2 levels to go. $2,500. We are at $125,000. Could we make it to $150,000? I don't know, but let's see. $2,500. Anywhere in the room? Yes, I see both of you. On my right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and that right there takes us to $135,000, ladies and gentlemen. On my right, we're getting dangerously close to $150,000. Anyone else at the $2,500 level? And another one. Thank you so much, ma'am. And that takes us to a very awkward number. So thank God you raised your paddle too, sir. That takes us to $140,000. And behind you, we are now at $142,500. Please keep your hands up until someone comes over, and they will take that information and also give you a QR code to scan. We are at $142,500. All right. Final push. You just raised your paddle, sir, and I didn't even give a number. So I'm going to think $1 million. Does that feel right to you? That feels right? Okay, good. Was that 2,500? 2,500. Now we're at 145,000. What did I tell you guys? All right. Last level. Cheer like crazy. I'm going to go left to right. We're at 145,000. Let's blow through that 150. The money is doing such incredible work for such an incredible organization. On my left, $1,000. Let's see it. Come on, guys. We have 1, 2, thank you so much, ma'am, both in green, 3, 4, 5 on my right, that's 150,000, 151, 2, 3, 4. Keep your paddles up until someone comes to you. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's 160,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 165, 166, 167, 68, 69, $170,000 on my right. Please keep your hands up, ladies and gentlemen. And another one jumping in at 171, 172, 173 in the back of the room, 173,000. Keep your paddles up until someone comes over, ladies and gentlemen. The final thing I will say, God, such gravitas. You guys actually quieted down. That was incredible. I should use that trick on my children. The final thing I will say, if there is any amount that I have not said that you would like to give, whether it be $5, whether it be $5 million, go with that. Find someone who works at the organization and give generously throughout the night, especially if you've had tequila at the end of the night. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you all so much. And Judy, I'd love to introduce you back.
Wow, that was amazing, and she's funny also. Seth, watch out. Thank you, Lydia, and to everyone in the room who gave, and I know everyone here gave, so thank you. And thanks to our survivor leaders, Carmen, Dorena. Thank you. It was very exciting, so everybody's talking, but now we have to quiet down. Dushi, Fatima, Joan, Leticia, Monica, Moreno, Renata, Sandra, and all the survivor leaders who are watching tonight. Thank you for sharing your powerful stories. And thank you for being partners in our work and inspiring us every single day. When it comes to supporting our work, I especially want to thank tonight's underwriting sponsors, the Schwartz and Ferdman families, and Tali and Boaz Weinstein. And a special thank you to Stephanie Ferdman for her 25 years plus of dedication to Sanctuary and to this event. And as always, to our team at Sanctuary, Lisa Mueller, Susan Puter, we're going to give you a hat to eat. She'll know what that means. Jeannie Kimbrell and Sanctuary's entire development team for producing this evening, and to the wonderful volunteers that are working tonight. And finally, and most importantly, my profound respect and deepest gratitude to Sanctuary's talented and devoted staff, without whom this work could not be done. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our first honoree, Ana Oliveira. Every leader needs partners to drive success. Ana and the New York Women's Foundation have been extraordinary partners, both to me and Sanctuary, and to all of the survivors who are seeking our help. I first met Ana shortly after I came to Sanctuary in 2014. She immediately welcomed me with warmth and generosity and continues to provide invaluable guidance and support. Ana was among the first funders to recognize the enormous potential of our economic empowerment program. The project is dedicated to teaching gender violence survivors the skills they need to lift themselves out of poverty. EEP is one of Sanctuary's signature programs, thanks to the vision and foresight of funders like Ana. Please take a moment to learn of Ana's myriad professional accomplishments in the program. And she recently moderated a philanthropy roundtable that Sanctuary convened, unpacking why only 1.6% of all philanthropic dollars are directed towards women and girls. Yes, you heard that right, only 1.6%, and why so few funders make gender violence a strategic priority. We want to change those numbers, and Ana is leading the way. Ana leads with grace and humility and brings her fierce intellect to everything she does. I am honored to call her a friend and thrilled to welcome her to our board. Please join me in congratulating Ana on receiving the 2022 Zero Tolerance Award. There you go. Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? I am so inspired by the energy in this room. And I wanted to say that I stand here, really not for me. I stand here for the New York Women's Foundation, and I stand here in awe of Sanctuary and the survivor leaders and survivor participants at Sanctuary. I actually think that there are 11 honorees this evening, Judy, meaning the 3 honorees, the incredible colleagues that I am being honored with, Talia and Catherine, but also the incredible other 8 women that just stood up here and told us really what leadership is. So, to me, and to the New York Women's Foundation, we have had the honor to learn from Sanctuary. We have had the honor to learn from Judy. Talk about leading with humility. Judy Kluger is somebody that very gently, very persistently, brilliantly creates the best good trouble in New York City against gender-based violence. That's you. So Judy and I have had the privilege to sit in the New York City Commission to close Rikers Island. And it has been a great opportunity to think together how that can be achieved in the city. So I wanted to say, I can't say anything about gender-based violence that Sanctuary already hasn't taught us and teaches every day, that survivors illuminate to us. But I do want to say that our job is not done. Our collective job is not done. Sanctuary, as powerful as it is, cannot do it alone. We live at a time where the currency of violence is so pervasive, is so detrimental to holding the values of safety, dignity, peace, and justice. So as I was thinking about the work of Sanctuary, I wanted to invite us all to never forget that gender-based violence in and of itself must be eradicated, but that gender-based violence is intimately connected, as you well know, with all other forms of violence. So it is so important that as we support the holistic approach that centers survival voices that Sanctuary has, that we also understand the Sanctuary needs our understanding that to eradicate gender-based violence, we must have zero tolerance to all kinds of violence. So, I am hoping that next year, at this event, not only we will continue to support the work that Sanctuary is doing, but we will have enabled Sanctuary to multiply that work. So the foundation, the board of the foundation, the staff of the foundation, really thanks Sanctuary for your leadership, for your courage, and for your unflinching commitment and clarity about the possibility of creating a world free of violence. We thank you very much for this, Judy.
Congratulations, Anna, and thank you for your invaluable leadership of the New York Women's Foundation and for your partnership with Sanctuary over all these many years. Good evening. My name is Dennis Mcinerney, and I am honored to be the president of Sanctuary's wonderful board. In addition to leaders and partners like Anna, another vital person in virtually everyone's journey to a happy and rewarding life is the role model. The person whose example helps us to recognize what's possible and how to achieve that. And the person whose life inspires us to aspire to that possibility. Imagine, if you will, a child living in poverty with violence in the home, who then becomes homeless month after month after month. Imagine that child having the strength to weather those challenges, to work day in and day out, to earn scholarship after scholarship after scholarship, and to eventually become a lawyer. Imagine that child becoming not just a lawyer, but a federal judge, named by the American lawyer as one of the 10 judges in the country to watch, based on the feedback from litigators across the country who were asked one simple question: which judge has impressed you the most? And not only that, imagine that child becoming a Deputy Assistant Attorney General, helping to lead the Department of Justice, and a brilliant litigation partner at one of the most esteemed law firms in the world, Cravath, Swaine & Moore, an expert in artificial intelligence, an author, a law school professor, the list goes on and on. I've had the honor of serving alongside that remarkable role model for the last several years, whose childhood experiences drew her to Sanctuary's mission and eventually to our board. She's our next honoree, Catherine Forrest. I first learned of Catherine when she was on the bench, presiding over a very complicated prosecution of a trafficking ring. But the thing that really stood out was how then Judge Forrest handled that case with incredible sensitivity and compassion for the victims, one of whom was a Sanctuary client. Since then, it has been my great privilege to have been able to reach out to Catherine on a number of occasions to tap into that sensitivity and compassion, as well as her incredible intellect and judgment and wisdom. But as grateful as I have been for her exceptional guidance and assistance, what I am most thankful for is that Catherine has been the quintessential role model for Sanctuary's clients, and frankly, for anyone who is struggling to transcend whatever life has thrown their way. Catherine, you are a shining example of what is possible and what can be achieved through steadfast tenacity and composure in the face of all that life has to challenge you with. For that, and for your sage counsel, your generosity, your empathy, and your commitment to Sanctuary's mission, we are thrilled to recognize you with the 2022 Zero Tolerance Award.
Well, I am that child that Dennis described. And I want to thank you, Dennis. Your words were too kind and too generous. Sanctuary is an important organization that I'm proud to have been on the board of, and proud and humbled to be here this evening. I also want to congratulate the other honorees, both women who have done so much and who are so deserving. As Dennis said, I was raised in a house in which violence played a regular role. I know firsthand the complexities that women and their families face when the world is uncertain, dark, and scary. I know what it means to put the knives away, I know what it means to be there when the police arrive, to disinvite my father from my college graduation because he had beaten my mother while she was down, and to have my mother decline to come to that very same graduation out of solidarity with him. Gender-based violence has many facets, its victims have many facets, and there is no one way out. The importance of Sanctuary and its work is that it recognizes these complexities, providing important life-saving services to survivors and their families, including the children who have borne witness, themselves victims. I wish that my mother had had access to a place like Sanctuary, a place that concerns itself with paths out for people facing circumstances that are hard to talk about and much harder to live within. Tonight, I want to accept this honor on behalf of others, on behalf of the people who have worked for and with Sanctuary, many of the employees, the board members, the lawyers, and the volunteers and survivors are here in this room tonight. And it is your work that provides the path out, the lights and the lighting of the way for survivors to become survivors and to find hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I'm Alice Peterson, and this very month marks my 20th year of the great, great fortune of serving on Sanctuary's board of directors. Before my life included Sanctuary, I thought that people did community service. They were involved with organizations like this one as a way to give back, to lift others up. And I quickly learned that the exact opposite is true. Like Catherine, the clients that I've worked with through my time at Sanctuary have made it clear that joy can be sought from the very darkest of places and that a broken heart can be full of generosity. Sanctuary and the critical set of issues it's dedicated to, which have evolved as the organization continues to learn and we all get smarter about what it takes to allow our clients to create a life of self-determination, has been the source of countless friendships that I truly cannot imagine my life without. One of those is with Tali Farhadi and Weinstein, with whom I was set up given our shared dedication to issues of gender violence, which, let's be honest, if you've read her bio in the program, is kind of like introducing a recreational ping pong player to Serena Williams because they're both devoted to racket sports. Sorry, Tali, I kind of won on that one. Despite her countless accomplishments, I know with every certainty that this is only the beginning of Tali's winning battle to make our society safe for all women, no matter how much, or in many cases, how little privilege they have. Every minute that I get to spend with this person makes me a better person, a smarter person, a kinder person, and there is truly no one who is at once more fierce and more compassionate than my friend. Tali, thank you so much for your tireless devotion, your brilliant mind, and your incredibly giving heart. For her deep commitment and her incredibly inspirational leadership, please, please join me in congratulating Tali on receiving the 2022 Zero Tolerance Award.
Thank you, Alice. Let's start by taking a moment to celebrate my friend Alice Peterson. Alice started volunteering at Sanctuary just a few years out of college, translating to Spanish for clients who were in a pro bono divorce workshop. And here she is now, going out as the longest-serving board member in Sanctuary's history, 20 years. I started my career as a federal prosecutor of violent crimes. Murder, gun violence, drug trafficking. But it was only when I became a local prosecutor that I began to see violence differently and in different places. I learned that 1 out of 6 cases, 10,000 cases a year, in the Brooklyn DA's office involved domestic violence. That's not counting the sexual assaults, the crimes against children, the human trafficking that came into our office too. And that's also not counting the cases invisible to the office, because we know that nationwide, something like half of all domestic violence cases are never reported to law enforcement. So that means for every case that we see, there is a case that we do not see. And I started to see domestic violence everywhere. In Brooklyn, for example, during the Trump presidency, I started arresting people for civil immigration law violations in and around our local courthouses. And we saw that this discouraged immigrant women from coming forward to report domestic violence against them. So we decided to sue ICE to get them out of our courthouses, and we won. And let me just shout out to District Attorney Eric Gonzalez to thank him. He is sitting right here for his steadfast commitment to immigrant survivors. And then when the pandemic began, back in March of 2020, my husband Boaz and I, another great champion of women, we talked a lot about what we were not seeing, even though so much of our world was visibly different. That is the violence inside homes where everybody, of course, was suddenly trapped. And we knew that that's where our support was needed the most, and we are grateful to Sanctuary for being on the front lines. Now, I know that tonight is a night of celebration, and I promise I am going to get to that. But before I do, I can't help but say something about the violence that I'm seeing right now all across the country. So, of course, 2 weeks ago, yesterday, 19 children and 2 teachers were killed in a mass shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. The 18-year-old shooter shot his grandmother right before he went to the school. And in the months before the massacre, the shooter threatened girls and young women online with sexual assault, including rape and kidnapping. Now, these facts may surprise you, but they shouldn't, because the links between domestic violence and misogyny on the one hand, and mass shooting on the other are well known. In over two-thirds of mass shootings in the United States, the perpetrator first killed an intimate partner or family member or had a history of domestic violence. Meanwhile, any day now, the Supreme Court is expected to overrule or seriously undermine Roe v. Wade and allow states to criminalize abortion. Boo, yeah. In at least 26 states, that means that abortion will be illegal, and poor women, teenagers, women in abusive relationships will face enormous obstacles to get an abortion. And access to abortion will become another instrument of power and control in the abuser's arsenal. Meanwhile, we watched in horror last week as Amber Heard was vilified across social media and in court and may well be bankrupted for identifying herself as a victim of violence at home. Yeah, so that's the thing. Intimate partner violence, its sources and its consequences are on display every day, interwoven with some of the biggest legal and cultural issues of our time, from gun safety to choice. All of this can feel really overwhelming. But that is where Sanctuary comes in. Because you, my friends at Sanctuary, you do not allow yourselves to give up. Person by person, you do the hard work of reaching out to survivors, of seeing them and their needs, and helping them to see the markers, the moments and the gestures that show the progress of their journeys away from violence. And closing out the evening, I loved how we started with that video. And I was thinking as I was watching it that we're really lucky when something like a hug from a stranger or the exclamation of joy from a child feels like a small thing. And I'm full of admiration for Sanctuary for knowing that for survivors, those are really big things. They are evidence of resilience, of courage, of optimism, of commitment. And I thank you for bringing these small things into people's lives. Thank you for letting me be a part of your work and for this magnificent honor.
You sort of go back in time and things make sense. I didn't know it at the time. I'm actually thinking about it now. But I think reading and sitting with Maya Angelou, that was the beginning of a journey of me owning my voice. Just her sort of unapologetic way of living her life and just owning her phenomenal self. For me, what happened was an awakening for me. That's how I see it. Hey, what do I want? What is my life? Where am I heading? And so it really felt like I crossed over to be this sort of great woman who just owned all her stuff and was able to live and become bigger and maybe better and maybe make some kind of mark. And that was really freeing. I don't have to be ashamed of anything because guess what? Maya Angelou is sitting at my table, or rather I'm sitting at hers, like in a much smaller chair, but still there. So yeah.
I spent like 24 hours in bed crying. The more I give love, there was nothing coming back to me. And I said to myself, do I need to stay this after see myself crying? And I said, okay, I'm going to see what I need to move from this. But I didn't have courage. I think my art, my yarn, tangled together. That's what I started. Yeah, I like to see the piece on the wall. It brings hope, it changes your mindset. Creation, you can build a little thing at a time, and the courage to create can take you out of here. Stop the crying, like, no, you don't have to stay.
When I hear Italian, I literally get goosebumps. I started it in junior high, but the situation that we were in, I had to prioritize to be safe, and Italian had to go on the back seat. My daughters were constantly asking me to share stories. So that day, I just decided to do something a little different. So I began to share a book that I had loved, L'avventura di Pinocchio. Now, the version was in Italian from my school days, so didn't speak Italian at the time, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to read a morsel, and then I would translate it for them. And something happened like a thawing. It thawed this idea that I had of I can't enjoy the things that were just for me.
Everyone, I want to say thank you so much for being here through our program. That is it. I am the only thing now. This goodbye between you and dinner. To the survivors who shared these incredible stories, thank you, and congratulations again to Anna, Catherine, and Tali. One more time for our honorees tonight. For everybody in the room, enjoy your dinner. Stay for an incredible after party with DJ Bearcat. We've got that here. For those of you at home, thank you for tuning in. And I know that tonight's not about that, but I thought it was very rude how funny Lydia the auctioneer was. You know what I mean? It's not like I came out here and told you to raise your paddles. Like, I left that to her. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next year. Thank you.